Thank you very much, John Mark, and thank you everybody for your welcome. Good to see you all here this morning. Thank you very much for coming. I'm Richard Kemp-Harper. I'm from the Technologist Transport Board, and I'm going to be talking to you this morning about the title here, Driving Innovation in Fuel Cells and Hydrogen. I'm going to extend that driving analogy a little and talk a bit about acceleration. I'll talk about a journey, and I'll talk a bit about travelling together, and I hope to take you with me on that. Thank you, John Mark, for that introduction to the market around fuel cells and hydrogen. It's really good to hear some of those numbers and the sense of growth we're expecting here. And that's the story I want to tell as well around fuel cells and hydrogen. Weave that into the story today. A bit around business growth through innovation, an example of what government is doing in the UK in a joined-up way, and leave you with a question about fuel cells and hydrogen in the UK as an opportunity for investment. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the Technology Strategy Board and who we are and what we do. We're the UK's innovation agency. We set up and sponsored by government, but we work with business. And our aim is to drive economic growth through business-led innovation. One of the key things we do is to provide grant funding to businesses to support R&D and innovation. And in that, what we aim to do is to share risk between the public and private sector. In new technology areas, that's a key challenge, is how the risk is managed in the growth and the development of businesses, and we aim to share that. The other thing that we do, and this is one of the reasons for us being here today, is to connect the innovation landscape, join businesses up with other collaborators, partners, investors, and we really appreciate the opportunity through Nomura and through Cleantech Investor to be here today. So thank you for the invitation. So what we do is we try and build on UK business capability and strengthen the UK's position in global markets. We've just heard from John Mark that the fuel cells and hydrogen sectors are key growth areas. There's a global markets emerging, there are strong revenues, strong revenue growth, and we think that's a great opportunity for the UK. Because we've got some great businesses here. We've got a reputation for innovative businesses, some great research base, and a lot of world-leading capabilities in different parts of the industry in the UK. You're going to be hearing from 2 or 3 of the businesses based here, but actually there's a number of strong businesses that aren't represented in the UK. And one of the things we aim to do as the Technology Strategy Board is to help connect those to people who might be interested in investing in them, and we would welcome the opportunity to meet you afterwards and discuss the wider sector in the UK. One of the things we aim to do is to support emerging sectors, and I think the fuel cells and hydrogen sector is a key one. Again, we've heard about the markets, and we are nurturing at the moment the businesses in the UK to be able to respond to that market as it emerges. I'll just leave you with, at the bottom there, our criteria for supporting different thematic areas. Is there UK capability? In fuel cells and hydrogen, yes, there is. We know, and we've just heard, there's a large market opportunity. Is the idea ready? I think timing is an interesting question for this sector. As John Mark was alluding to, perhaps there's been a troubled past, but actually in the UK, I think we're well positioned. The businesses haven't invested too early, and there's been consistent government support, as I'll say in a moment, over the last few years, and will be continuing for the next little while. There are activities in the UK which support it. The markets are emerging now, so I think the timing is very good. And can we make a difference? I want to show you a little in the next few slides about how we think we have to support business growth in the UK. We think we still can as Technology Strategy Board, working with partners and other funders to support the growth of the industry. So one of the reasons we exist as Technology Strategy Board is to help get investment at the right time. By sharing risk, we can help accelerate investment, make sure that the timing is right. By helping businesses collaborate, we are able to help them form new partnerships, suppliers, customers, and with government. We're also able to help wider industry understand the future trends. I'll let you into a little secret. Come a little closer. A fuel cell is just a generator. It's not very, it's sometimes overhyped, sometimes people get too excited about it, but it's really very simple. And that means it can replace anything that's a generator in the system, in an energy system. So one of the things we've been doing in a recent program that we have announced the results this summer is connecting fuel cell and hydrogen businesses up with the wider energy system, stakeholders, utilities, and in the transport system with vehicle manufacturers, and joining the whole thing up in a whole system to make those connections. So what we're able to do is to introduce what's happening in the technology sector to the trends and the activities going on in wider sectors. And we work across government. We've been pulling together co-funding from particularly our Department for Energy and Climate Change in the UK, but also coordinating our funding with those from other areas such as the Carbon Trust and private investors. We're also aligning very closely with key government and industry activities such as the UK H2 Mobility Programme, which is a cross-government, cross-industry initiative to look at the future of hydrogen infrastructure and mobility in the UK. Very quickly, our focus areas then. It's all about acceleration, as I've alluded to already, but taking businesses and sectors on a journey from concept, early stage development to technology, through to commercialization. It's not just about supporting R&D. We want to see these businesses reach the markets, and we need your support, or UK industry requires your support to be involved in that, to help these things that have been in development funds for some time deliver the solutions and the clean tech benefits that we expect to see. We connect the innovation landscape. We aim to join up businesses. As I said already, we would love to see the businesses we've been supporting connecting more closely with the investor community, and would welcome the opportunity to help facilitate that. We're joining up government, as I've mentioned already, and one thing we're aiming to do is get better at what we're doing about signposting businesses to investment opportunities, to market opportunities, to people who can help them better, and likewise to signpost investors towards businesses that have been through our process, that have helped to have their approach and technology de-risked, and a certain amount of due diligence applied for them. The way we do all this, we've got a whole bunch of tools that we've developed. I'm not going to look at each of those in detail, but a couple of highlights. SMART is a single company, small business investment scheme that can be applied to at any time. The large part of our program, Collaborative R&D, supports more complex projects with several businesses working together. Launchpad is an investor and government sharing the risk around startup businesses. And Catapults, then we have some updates outside. Catapults are centres of excellence around key technology areas, hoping to pull business, academia together to meet key markets. As well in that portfolio, the knowledge transfer partnerships, knowledge transfer networks, that's the area where we're doing a lot of work in connecting businesses to each other. There's a web platform, Connect, that you can join there as well if you want to be part of the network to make further contact to the work that we're doing and the businesses that we relate to. So back to fuel cells and hydrogen, and I want to just highlight, in a sense, a story of business growth. There's just some highlights of some of the outcomes of projects that businesses have done with UK Technologist Strategy Board funding and earlier funding streams back earlier on that timeline. These are collaborative projects. Through this program, businesses will have developed collaborations with strategic partners. So Intelligent Energy there, the van was developed with Peugeot, the taxi with Lotus and LTI. the scooter, they've formed a strategic relationship with Suzuki. So using the funding to build partnerships, to develop their strategic capabilities and to demonstrate their technologies. And each of those is a highlight on that journey. Started off with technology and gone through to demonstrated products. And at the end there is our current program, just highlighted in grey. There are projects there which are joining up these products, linking them in with the energy and transport system. How do we join this up? Again, strategic partnerships with utilities, with transport companies. I'll highlight the Hydrogen Hub project in Scotland. That's grid-scale electrolysis linked to a fleet of buses with First Group and Stagecoach working together in that project. Linking the energy and transport systems using fuel cell and hydrogen technologies. And the others are all doing the same, linking energy and transport. So we're trying to help businesses get their products and solutions into context, working together. And that shows the development of a program. And what we aim to do is support businesses on that journey from concept to commercialization. And the way we do that is by providing funding aligned to key themes, but focusing on addressing key market barriers for business. We don't pick individual companies. What we do is we provide thematic competitions which they're able to bid into as consortia generally. And what they do is they use those funding streams to achieve their strategic goals. One thing I highlight about that, it is a competitive process. There's an assessment by independent experts. Those projects are then monitored against delivery. So what you will see out of a project, if they go back to the previous slide, they've got this demonstrated product, is there's a certain amount of due diligence being applied to that business. Some of that's been de-risked. They've had funding to support that process. So you can look at those as businesses that have gone through some sort of process. You will want to make your own decisions about investment, but what we hope to do is showcase these businesses and what they've achieved through our program. And finally, just like to leave you with the idea of what the sense of the industry is in the UK. We are travelling together on this journey with businesses. As you can see, we've been giving coherent support over a number of years to businesses in this sector in the UK in a coherent way, addressing key market barriers. We're aligning very closely with the UK H2 mobility activity. All of the projects, as I say, in our current programme are linking energy systems into transport and looking at some of the challenges around the hydrogen infrastructure particularly. We are well connected into business networks. We draw heavily on the research base, and we're delighted to be here today to meet you as an investor community interested in this area. So many of the ingredients are in place for fuel cells and hydrogen in the UK. We've heard about the global markets, and we're delighted actually to meet some of the key businesses from outside the UK, and we look forward to hearing from them through the rest of today. And we look forward to joining with you on this journey. We think the ingredients are in place and would welcome further dialogue with you, welcome introducing you to some of the UK businesses, and working with you, going with you on this journey for fuel cells and hydrogen in the future. Thank you very much.